Hello everyone, this is Leo Peridot Predictions, and I'll be doing my 2028 presidential prediction between Kamala Harris and JD Vance based off recent polls and for April 2026. Before I begin, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, follow me on X, also known as Twitter, Instagram, and make sure to join my Discord server. First, based off Trump approval rating polls, an average, the latest polls, April 25, 2026, Trump has an approval rating of 38.8 in average and disapproval of 58.1% in average. And this is the link if anyone is interested in seeing the source. And this is the current polls between Harris and Vance for the 2028 presidential election, with Harris at 44.5% average and Vance at 40.4% average. Now let's begin. The 2028 presidential election has a total of 538 electoral votes, and in order to win, a candidate needs to win 270 electoral votes. Currently, the map is blank, no votes or map or results anything reported, with Kamala Harris at 0 electoral votes and JD Vance also at 0 electoral votes. Now we move on to the first poll closings at 6 p.m. Eastern Time in Indiana and Kentucky. And now for the first projections. We can easily project that Kentucky easily goes to JD Vance, with him winning 63.1% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 35.3% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 8 electoral votes in Kentucky. Our next projection is in Indiana, with JD Vance getting 57.3% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 40.7% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 11 electoral votes in Indiana. And now let's move on to the Electoral College map. Kamala Harris currently at 0 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently at 19 electoral votes. Now moving on to the next poll closings at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in 6 states: Vermont, New Hampshire, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Moving on to our next projections, we can easily project Vermont going to Kamala Harris, with her winning 65.2% of the vote, and JD Vance winning 31.1% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 3 electoral votes from Vermont. And our next projection is in South Carolina, with JD Vance getting 56.6% of the vote, with Kamala Harris getting 42% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 9 electoral votes from South Carolina. And our next projection is from Florida, with JD Vance getting 54% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 45% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 30 electoral votes from Florida. Now let's look at the electoral vote. Currently, Kamala Harris at 3 electoral votes, and JD Vance at 58 electoral votes. Now moving on to the 7:30 poll closings, Eastern Time, in 3 states: Ohio, West Virginia, and North Carolina. We can make a projection in West Virginia, easily going to JD Vance, with him getting 68.8% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 29.3% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 4 electoral votes in West Virginia. And now let's look at the Electoral College map. Kamala Harris currently at 3 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently at 62 electoral votes. Now moving on to 8 p.m. poll closings Eastern Time. In 19 states, including Washington, D.C., we can easily project Washington, D.C. goes to Kamala Harris, with her winning 91.6% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 5.4% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 3 electoral votes from Washington, D.C. We can project North Dakota goes to JD Vance, with him getting 65.7% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 31% of the vote, with JD Vance gaining 3 electoral votes in North Dakota. We can project in Oklahoma, JD Vance getting 65.1% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 32.8% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 7 electoral votes from Oklahoma. We can make another projection in Maryland, with Kamala Harris getting 64.1% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 32.8% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 10 electoral votes from Maryland. We can make another projection in Massachusetts, with Kamala Harris gaining 63.1% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 34.2% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 11 electoral votes from Massachusetts. We can make another projection in Alabama, with JD Vance getting 63.1% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 35.5% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 9 electoral votes from Alabama. We can make another projection in South Dakota, with JD Vance getting 62.2% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 35.4% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 3 electoral votes in South Dakota. We can make another projection in Tennessee, with JD Vance getting 62.5% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 36% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 11 electoral votes from Tennessee. We can make another projection in Mississippi, with JD Vance getting 59.2% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 39.6% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance getting 6 electoral votes from Mississippi. We can make another projection in Connecticut, with Kamala Harris getting 57.9% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 40.4% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 7 electoral votes from Connecticut. And with another projection in Delaware, Kamala Harris getting 57.9% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 40.5% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 3 electoral votes in Delaware. With another projection in Rhode Island, Kamala Harris gaining 57.3% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 40.1% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 4 electoral votes in Rhode Island. We can make another projection in Missouri, with JD Vance getting 57.2% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 41.2% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 10 electoral votes from Missouri. We can make another projection in Illinois, with Kamala Harris getting 56% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 41.9% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 19 electoral votes from Illinois. We can make another projection in Kansas, with JD Vance getting 56.1% of the votes, with Kamala Harris getting 42% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 6 electoral votes from Kansas. We can make another projection in New Jersey, with Kamala Harris getting 54.1% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 44.1% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 14 electoral votes from New Jersey. We can make another projection in Texas, with JD Vance getting 54.3% of the votes and Kamala Harris getting 44.3% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 40 electoral votes from Texas. And we can make another projection in Maine, with Kamala Harris gaining 53.4% of the votes and JD Vance getting only 44.3% of the votes, resulting, due to split congressional district electoral votes, Kamala Harris getting 3 out of 4 electoral votes, and JD Vance getting 1 electoral vote in Maine. And now looking at the Electoral College map, Kamala Harris currently stands at 77 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently stands at 158 electoral votes. Now moving on to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time poll closings. In only one state, in Arkansas, we can project in Arkansas, JD Vance gets 62.9% of the votes, and Kamala Harris gets 34.7% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 6 electoral votes in Arkansas. And we can make another projection in Ohio, with JD Vance getting 53.8% of the votes, and Kamala Harris gaining 45.1% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 7 electoral votes from Ohio. And we can make another projection in Virginia, with Kamala Harris getting 53.2% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 44.7% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 13 electoral votes from Virginia. Now looking at the Electoral College map, Kamala Harris stands at 90 electoral votes, and JD Vance stands at 181 electoral votes. Now moving on to 9 p.m. Eastern Time poll closings in 10 states: Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Louisiana, and New York. We have more major projections. Let's start off with Wyoming, with JD Vance getting 74.4% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 26.8% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 3 electoral votes in Wyoming. We can make another projection in Louisiana, with JD Vance getting 59% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 39.4% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 8 electoral votes in Louisiana. We can make another projection in Nebraska, with JD Vance getting 58.2% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 39.8% of the vote. And due to split congressional district electoral votes, JD Vance wins 4 out of 5 electoral votes in Nebraska. Our next projection is in New York, with Kamala Harris getting 58% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 41.1% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 28 electoral votes in New York. Our next projection is in Colorado, with Kamala Harris getting 55.3% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 42% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 10 electoral votes in Colorado. Our next projection is in Iowa, with JD Vance getting 54.2% of the votes and Kamala Harris getting 43.9% of the votes, resulting in JD Vance gaining 6 electoral votes in Iowa. With our next projection in New Mexico, with Kamala Harris getting 53.3% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 44.4% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 5 electoral votes in New Mexico. Our next projection is in Minnesota, with Kamala Harris getting 52.1% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 45.5% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 10 electoral votes in Minnesota. Our next projection is in New Hampshire, with Kamala Harris getting 52% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 46.4% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 4 electoral votes in New Hampshire. And now looking at the Electoral College map, Kamala Harris currently stands at 148 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently stands at 202 electoral votes. Now moving on to 10 p.m. Eastern Time poll closings in 5 states: Oregon, Nevada, Utah, Idaho, and Montana. With our first projection in Idaho, with JD Vance getting 65.7% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 31.7% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 4 electoral votes in Idaho. Our next projection is in Utah, with JD Vance getting 58.3% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 38.6% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 6 electoral votes in Utah. Our next projection is in Montana, with JD Vance getting 58.3% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 39.8% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 4 electoral votes in Montana. Our next projection is in Oregon, with Kamala Harris getting 56.4% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 40% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris getting 8 electoral votes in Oregon. Our updated Electoral College map, Kamala Harris stands with 156 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently stands at 216 electoral votes. Now moving on to 11 p.m. Eastern Time poll closings in only 2 states, which are California and Washington. We can make a projection in California, with Kamala Harris easily winning with 60.5% of the vote, and JD Vance only getting 36.5% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 54 electoral votes in California. And we can make another projection in Washington, with Kamala Harris getting 58.2% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 38.1% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 12 electoral votes in Washington. Now looking at our updated Electoral College map, Kamala Harris currently leads and stands at 222 electoral votes, and JD Vance stands at 216 electoral votes. And just a reminder, 270 electoral votes are needed to win. Both candidates have a chance. This is a competitive election. Now moving on to 12 a.m. Eastern Time poll closings in only 2 states, Alaska and Hawaii. We can make a projection in Hawaii, with Kamala Harris getting 62.2% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 35.9% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 4 electoral votes in Hawaii. And we can make another projection in Alaska, with JD Vance getting 53.3% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 42.6% of the vote, resulting in JD Vance gaining 3 electoral votes in Alaska. Now let's look at our updated Electoral College map, with Kamala Harris still leading narrowly with 226 electoral votes, and JD Vance standing at 219 electoral votes. Again, this is very competitive. 270 electoral votes are needed to win. We can now make a major projection in the Battleground state of Arizona, with JD Vance narrowly winning with 50.6% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 48.2% of the votes, which is only a margin of 2.4%, resulting in JD Vance gaining 11 electoral votes in Arizona. Now let's look at our updated Electoral College map, with Kamala Harris currently at 226 electoral votes, and JD Vance leading with 230 electoral votes. This is very competitive. Both candidates have a chance. We can now make another major projection in the battleground state of Michigan, with Kamala Harris narrowly winning by 49.7% of the vote, and JD Vance at 48.4% of the vote, with only a margin of 1.3%, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 50 electoral votes. In Michigan, this is a flip from 2024, which Donald Trump previously won. Now let's look at our current electoral college map, with Michigan flipping from red to blue. Kamala Harris currently leads at 241 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently stands at 230 electoral votes. We can now make another major projection in the battleground state of North Carolina, with JD Vance narrowly winning with 49.8% of the vote, and Kamala Harris getting 48.7% of the vote, which is only a margin of 1.1%, resulting in JD Vance gaining 16 electoral votes in North Carolina. Now let's look at the updated electoral college map, with JD Vance currently leading with 246 electoral votes, and Kamala Harris at 241 electoral votes. 270 electoral votes are needed to win. Both candidates need less than 30 electoral votes to win. We can now make another major projection in the battleground state of Wisconsin, with Kamala Harris getting 49.7% of the votes, and JD Vance getting 48.6% of the votes, with Kamala Harris winning narrowly by only 1.1% of the votes, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 10 electoral votes from Wisconsin, and flipping it from red to blue, with Trump previously winning it in 2024. Now looking at the updated electoral college map, Kamala Harris currently leads narrowly by only 251 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently stands at 246 electoral votes. We can now make another major projection in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, with Kamala Harris getting 49.82% of the vote, and JD Vance getting 49.16% of the vote, with Kamala Harris narrowly winning by only 0.66% of the vote, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 19 electoral votes in Pennsylvania, flipping it from red to blue, with Trump previously won in 2024. We can now project Kamala Harris wins the 2028 presidential election, with her currently at 270 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently at 246 electoral votes. We can now project Kamala Harris as the projected winner of the 2028 presidential election. We can make another major projection in the battleground state of Nevada, with JD Vance getting 49.04% of the votes, and Kamala Harris getting 48.96% of the votes, which is only a margin of 0.08%, resulting in JD Vance gaining 6 electoral votes in Nevada. Looking at the updated electoral college map, Kamala Harris has already won, and she is currently at 270 electoral votes, with JD Vance at 252 electoral votes. And now we can make our final projection in the battleground state of Georgia, with Kamala Harris getting 49.59% of the votes, my apologies, and JD Vance getting 49.53% of the votes, which is only a margin of 0.06%, resulting in Kamala Harris gaining 16 electoral votes in Georgia, flipping it from red to blue. Now looking at our electoral college map, Kamala Harris wins with 286 electoral votes, and JD Vance currently stands at 252 electoral votes. We can now project Kamala Harris is the president-elect of the 2020 presidential election, winning 286 electoral votes.